Hey, sweet friends, it's Andrea. I hope that you're doing really well. I am so excited to be back in the Girl on the Go community. I had to take a couple of weeks off. My travel schedule was pretty intense at the end of April and May, and so I just had to focus on that. And I met so many of you, and it was so great. I'm just so thankful for our live events and the opportunity to meet you, to hug your neck, to hear your story, and then also to just continue the relationship right here in the Girl on the Go community. So thank you so much for joining us. I also had my youngest son got married, and we just had the best time in April celebrating that marriage. And we are just filled with joy with the addition of two wonderful daughters-in-law to our family, and just settling into those new rhythms and relationships. And so we are doing really well. But all that to say, I took a couple of weeks off because we just had so much going on. And so I love that about the community. You know what? In crazy times, we can hit the pause button, and then when things slow down, we can jump right back in. And so we're jumping right back in. As you know, this year we're focusing on prayer and just the beautiful opportunity to pray, to commune with God, to connect our hearts to God, to both talk to Him and to listen for His reply, and the beautiful, deep and abiding relationship that comes out of that. And so we're talking about that. We're praying towards that end, and we're developing, by the grace of God, just a deeper, more meaningful walk with the Lord. And I was thinking, recently we celebrated Mother's Day. And I kind of did a little, thinking through my life and through my journey as a mom. And, I just have had different seasons. There's been times when, really honestly, and I shared this in my book, God in the Window, where so much of my motherhood journey was about me and about controlling the boys or shaping the boys, or feeling good about myself because of the boys, or feeling bad about myself because of the boys. There's just been different seasons that I've had to walk through with my mothering, and to really come to a place of crucifying that and realizing that God entrusted these boys to me as just wonderful sons and as legacy, but also just for the wonderful relationship of a mother and a son, and the fact that I get to pour into them, and I get to love them, and I get to be a part of helping to shape them, and what a beautiful responsibility that is. And I hope that falls on you today. I hope that falls on to me today, the beautiful responsibility of investing in that next generation, and how that presses us towards healthy relationship with God, healthy resolves in our life, and also sometimes just introspection when it comes to our motives in the parenting journey. And let me just say this, because I know so many of us find ourselves in different spaces when it comes to parenting. There are so many different ways in relationships when it comes to investing in that next generation. It may be through a biological child, it may be through adopted child, foster child, just a special relationship with a child through maybe you're the spiritual mom in that person's life, maybe that special aunt, that special teacher. God is faithful to put people in our lives, and those relationships have purpose. And so as we just recently celebrated Mother's Day, I just kind of was thinking introspectively about my journey and some of the lessons I've learned over the years with my boys. And I remembered a article that I wrote for a magazine, and it's called A Mother's Love. And in that article, I talked about how having a Christ-like love, first of all for Christ and then for our children, positions us to have healthy attitudes and actions and perspectives in the mothering journey. So I thought I might just jump on here today and over the next couple of weeks and just kind of flesh some of these things out with you. And as we're fleshing these out, my challenge for me and for you is this: let's ask the Lord, through the work of His Spirit, through the application of His Word, to do a heart check in us when it comes to our perspective on motherhood, whether that's with a biological child, a foster child, or just a special relationship that God has placed in our lives. Let's make sure that isn't ultimately coming from a place where we're trying to control somebody else, where we're trying to feel better about ourselves, but really that we're truly able to say to the best of our ability before the Lord that we are mothering out of the overflow of our relationship with Jesus. And because of that, we're able to step into these relationships in healthy ways where it's not about us, but it really is about honoring the Lord and investing in that other person's life. Now, I want to give you a verse of scripture that helps to set the stage for this. And this is a verse that can have broad application to so many different areas of our life, but I want us to think about it in the area of mothering or motherhood or influence. And here's the passage, Philippians 2:3-4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interest of others. So if we think about just what this verse is teaching, it's teaching humility. It's teaching putting other people before ourselves. It's teaching the beauty of pursuing Christ, and so that our relationship with Him is able to shape our relationship with others. And that, more than anything, I think has been my takeaway when it comes to the mothering journey. My relationship with Christ can and should shape how I mother in every single season of life, so that it's not, about me, so that I'm able to say, you know what, that's not about selfish ambition. It's not about vain conceit. It's not about my own interest. I'm truly putting that other person before myself. And because of that, I'm able to step in healthy ways to love that child, to direct that child, to shape that child, and to be able to invest in that child's life. And so when we do that, when we can honestly say that before the Lord, there's just some healthy things that will come out of that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Number one, we're able to love our child or the child God has placed in our life even when the situation is challenging. So our relationship with Christ and our relationship with that child is grounded in a solid foundation of Christ, rather than just the ebb and flow of challenges or the ebb and flow of our perspective on that child in any given situation. And so a Christ-like love for a child really does help us to love that child even when the situation is challenging. The next thing that a Christ-like love will do is it helps us to believe in that child even when everybody else doubts, even when the world doubts that child, even when maybe there's other people speaking into that child's life and they see the worst in the child or the worst in the situation. A Christ-like love for that child helps us to believe in that child and to fight for that child in a way where we're fighting for God's best in that child's life. And that's a powerful thing. That is a powerful thing that we need to be able to do in a child's life. It also helps us, a Christ-like love also helps us to open our heart to the child, even if there's hurt in the past. And not that we don't have healthy boundaries, not that we are constantly being, walked on or walked over, but rather we're able to just step into the relationship knowing that our value and our safety and our sense of meaning and purpose comes from the Lord. And so we're able, even in situations where maybe there's been strain or hurt, we're able to re-engage in healthy ways so that child knows that they're seen, they're loved, they're valued, that they are secure with us. And that is another just beautiful thing that God does for us. And so we get to do that for another. Another thing that a Christ-like love does for us in this mothering relationship is it helps us to encourage the child to be the person God has called them to be. And this was just something that was a journey for me. I had so many plans for my boys. I mean, I did. I wanted them to do this, or I wanted them to do that. And the Lord just brought conviction on my heart. And really what we should want is what the Lord has for that child. And so when we get on board with His plans and purposes for that child, then what are we doing? We are saying we want to be in partnership with what the Lord is doing in that child's life. And so we're able to encourage that child, be who God has called you to be. Whether that's just a vocational thing, or maybe it is just like hobbies and just giftings and natural abilities that God has given to that child. So we're able to encourage that instead of making it about us and what we want in a given situation. And then A Christ-like love helps us to set healthy boundaries for the child and to enforce them. Why? Because we're not trying to be that child's best friend. We're not trying to be the cool parent, right? We want to be healthy and we want to be helpful. And so we're able to set boundaries that are in alignment with God and His Word, and we're able to enforce them even when the relationship gets sticky, even whenever, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but even whenever everybody else gets to do it, but I don't get to do it. We want to set rhythms in our homes and in our relationships that are honoring to Christ and honoring to His Word. And then finally, just Christ-like love. What does it do for us in the mothering process? It helps us to experience life with that child and to make beautiful memories together. And I guess that's where I want to end this video. I think that that's where I'm at in this new season of life. The boys, they have their own families now. They're establishing their rhythms and routines. And so I think about all the time that I have had with them and what a blessing it has been. And there's going to be so much more time with them, even though it's going to be different. But right now, one thing that we really want to do is to experience life with them. We want to make those beautiful memories. And one way that I know I can set that up is by not placing expectations on them that are unrealistic in this new season of life, but rather meet them where they are and to establish a relationship and to continue a relationship that's healthy and helpful for everybody involved. And so this week, when you think about those important relationships in your life, I just wonder if you could add to that list. What are some things that you've learned about Christ-like love in the mothering area, in the mothering journey, that has positioned you and your family to be able to enjoy this season of life together, and to be able to do it so that the reality of Philippians 2, 3, and 4 is being demonstrated in and through your life? Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. Have a great week.